You're listening to Ignite Your Success, a podcast that inspires fitness professionals to build a strong business that enables them to serve more people and engineer the lifestyle they desire. It's Brad Shepherd here, and together with Jason Ubanowicz, we're best known for running Trainer HQ, a community of passionate and profit-hungry fitness business owners that make a massive difference in others' lives every day. Each episode will unpack for you exactly what's working and deliver best practice strategies so you can confidently grow your business and make a huge impact. Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Ignite Your Ultimate Success podcast. And today I am joined by the 2021 Trainer HQ Entrepreneur of the Year, Damien Beatdown Brown. Welcome, brother.
Thank you, bro. It's good to be here. I've watched enough of them. It's nice to be a part of one.
Mate, you're looking forward to being on this, weren't you, hey?
Yeah, for sure. Always does a good job. There's lots of little cherries that come out of it, so hopefully
Nice.
I can give some.
Nice, that's good. Now, mate, what's more rewarding? Just curious, being featured on the podcast or winning the 2021 Trainer HQ Entrepreneur of the Year?
Well, it's a hard decision because you're making me choose between you and you. Really. So the Trainer HQ 2021 Entrepreneur of the Year is a good one.
Yeah.
Comes around once a year.
Yep.
But we could do this more than once a year.
True that.
So
True that.
You'll have to go with that one.
There's your answer. Yeah. Mate, congratulations, by the way. Very deserved winner.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we've got a lot to converse about, many ways where we can take this conversation. And but first things first, if we talk about the current, you run Base Training Centre here in Brisbane. Can you tell us a bit about Base, where it's currently at, when it started, and kind of what sort of you offer at Base?
Yeah, so we're a mixed martial arts and fitness centre. Obviously the premier mixed martial arts and fitness centre in North Brisbane.
Nice.
We offer everything from fitness classes to mixed martial arts, kickboxing and jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
The fitness classes, we don't tend to try to compete with the local gyms. There's a lot of them.
Sure.
But we offer them, and they've really taken off, predominantly for parents of kids.
Yep. Perfect.
So, yeah, that's what we offer. We started just under 3 years ago. So it'll be 3 years in March.
Yep.
With the goal of hitting 100 members every year.
Yeah, and if I butt in there, you've started from zero, right?
Yeah,
Blank canvas.
Yeah, I wasn't PTing or anything. I was working for the government and competing in the UFC.
Yep.
And
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, and that was just my opportunity. I've thought about having a gym for about 10 years.
Yes.
And as we talked about last weekend, and that was my opportunity to do it, and I took it and ran with it.
Took the plunge.
Here we are.
Yeah, there you go. So, and roughly, 2.5, just over 2.5 years down the track, where does it sit now? Roughly, how many people have you got that come along or who are members of the gym?
Yeah, man. I mean, we've hit our 300 members.
Yep.
Some come, some go. We're coming up to Christmas. We're probably going to lose a big chunk of that. Most gyms know that around Christmas. Not a big chunk, but we'll lose a percentage.
There'll be some people that won't be there, but there's a good chance they'll come back, and a whole lot of new people coming through.
Yeah, we build a product, people come back. They just have to go and save some money for the festive season, and that's the way it is. But yeah, we've hit all our goals. We've exceeded our own expectations. We started in a small gym, and inside the first lease, we had to move. So. Yeah, here we are. We're in 700 squares now. It's
a good problem to have, isn't it? That 1 week ago, we've actually, in that period of time, we've outgrown the original space. That was in
300.
2 years, is it? Or
yeah,
less
yeah.
than 2 years?
It was actually 2 years after I signed the first lease. I signed the second lease.
Yeah, there you go.
and it was a 3-year lease, the first one. So we had a little bit of shuffling around there, but we took the risk and expected that the new place would grow enough in a bigger spot that we'd be able to absorb that.
Beautiful.
Risk.
Love it. I'm going to get to more of that shortly because there's a great story behind that, but I want to learn a bit more about your background, mate, because it's highly fascinating. So, if we go back to, you spoke about being part of the UFC, I want to touch on that, but I know that you're a military man as well. So can you tell us a bit about your background? What's your history and what got you into that?
Yeah, well, here's something not many know. I'm actually a baker by trade.
A baker. There you
Baker
go.
by
Wow.
trade, so I can make a good loaf of bread and a meat pie.
Hello.
But yeah, so
On just a side note, what do they put in the sausage rolls? Because I always learned it was lips and arseholes.
yeah, we can't tell you that. No, it's lots of leftover bread and terrible meat mince.
Ordinary stuff, eh?
But if you season it right, people love it.
Tastes bloody good, eh?
So it's I left school to be a baker. That's my dad had a bakery, so it seemed like a quick way out of school.
Nice.
You know, I wasn't bad at school. Pretty reasonable education.
Yeah. 2 a.m. starts, was it? Or?
Paid attention. When I first left school, I was 16. I was doing 10 p.m. starts.
10 p.m. Jesus.
10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I'll never forget. I was so wrecked. I fell asleep in front of a heater when I came home one day, and I woke up with blisters on me. That's how tired I used to get. Yeah, it was rough being a 16-year-old smacking out 60 hours a week of night shifts, but
yeah,
you know,
you did it.
You adapt and learn, and anyway, and then I joined the military when I was 21. I didn't really have any intention on doing it. Yeah, my dad was military, but that was never part of my plan. Just had a few rough nights at work and thought I needed a new job. Opened up the page of the paper, and there's a double spread. Military needs you.
And you're like, boom, I'm in.
So I needed the military at that point in time, and they needed me.
That got you out of bacon bread.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And, I pushed my point with the recruiters, and 6 weeks later I was at basic training.
Yeah, fantastic.
It was really quick, actually.
So 21 years old, hey? What year was that roughly?
I joined in 2006.
06. Yeah, cool.
So people can actually work out how old I am now. Thanks for that.
Mate, looking very youthful, I must add. Yeah.
Stop it.
Stop it. And, mate, I did my research, Afghanistan, 2007.
Yeah, correct.
So pretty young, man. Tell me about that experience then.
Man, I was 22 years old when I went to Afghanistan. It was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good and bad experiences over there.
Sure.
I got a few, moments for me that were like real moments. They're moments that they make you realise that you're not in training anymore,
Yeah.
So the first patrol we ever did was meant to be a day patrol. They cancelled it. We did a night patrol.
Yeah.
So we step off in the middle of the night. It was just a walk, basically.
Sure.
Just nothing, just an intro patrol, Step off in the middle of the night, walk a K, through the fields, sit on the edge of the green zone, walk back, go to sleep.
Yeah.
And that was literally the scariest 1K walk I've ever done.
Wow.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
But you're so on edge. Like there's no complacency. Everything's at a heightened state.
You're at war.
Oh yeah, you're like 5 cent, 50 cent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was scared. It was a realization moment. And then I should backtrack just a little bit. Just the day before that patrol.
Yep.
So David Pierce, he lost his life in a roadside bomb.
Wow.
Poppy Pierce, and the day that I landed in Afghanistan, they basically they blew all the wheels off his vehicle. They skull dragged it back through the base.
Yeah.
I remember I just got there. We're doing some briefs in the briefing room, and we're outside for a 10-minute break when the vehicle came past.
Yeah.
So there was that moment, and then the next day we're out and we're doing a patrol, and that was the second moment. And that was where, I did all the training, normal training, you know, everything they do to prepare you for that.
Yeah.
We'd been to the staging base, we'd done kill houses, so live shoots in buildings and everything. And, it was like real because we were training for it, but it wasn't real.
Yeah.
It was real when, that like you're there and you see a farmer and you're like, that guy could probably just unload on me right now.
Yeah.
And those two moments for me were defining moments.
Yeah, and as a 22-year-old, I can't imagine what it would have been like. Everything going on inside your mind at that point in time.
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on. But like I said, we prepare for it.
Sure.
We know what's going on. It's just a moment, where you go, well, it's real now.
Yeah.
So now we're on.
Mate, thanks for sharing, and definitely thoughts go out to those that have been in battle and given their life. It's when you speak about it, hear about it, you know the sacrifice that people have given. It's very powerful. Mate, you also, I guess, suffered from your experience. So would you mind sharing on that with us?
Yeah, I make no secret about it that I don't believe there's any soldier that goes to a war zone and comes back okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that they all come back messed up. It just means that, there's a whole bunch of reasons and probably explanations beyond my pay grade, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where there's hyper alertness, hypersensitivity, and everything else from trauma.
Yeah.
Whether that means, I don't know, you got shot at once and you now have a hyper alertness and a hypersensitivity to loud noises.
Yeah.
It just means that that's not okay.
Sure.
That doesn't mean that any of us are messed up or anything like that, but it certainly means that there's stress to a post-traumatic situation.
Yeah.
So that's I feel like that's a good thing for everyone to understand, is just because people went over there and came back and they're pretty cool doesn't mean like they sleep right at night. It doesn't mean that when the car backfires going down the street and they
Absolutely
crap in their jocks.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a physiological response to trauma.
Yeah.
And even then, for some people, it's not even trauma. Nothing could have ever happened, but you still sleep in a hyper alert state.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's being able to adapt to that physiological response that's happened over a period of time in a heightened area to have to come back to sleeping in your king bed in your lovely master bedroom suite.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so some people just never adjust from that. So, I've had my own demons and my own battles. I still have them to this day. It's been 13 years since I came back.
Yeah.
And 13 and a half. And, there's still moments that happen. I still hear noises that I think sound like gunshots and stuff like that. And it just, I don't think it ever goes away,
Yeah. It's if I'm hearing you correctly, it's more about you've gone through the process, you've done the work to be able to understand it and know it for what it is.
Yeah, it's just it's like anything in life. For a veteran that sees a doctor, that's their coach. That's the person that helps them put a management plan in place and helps them to deal with the trauma, which is otherwise just another incident. So I feel like that it's very easy to look at it and be like, that guy sees a psychiatrist. Or maybe to that guy, that's his coach. That's that guy's life coach. He's helping him through the business that he needs to get through.
It's getting
to have a good life. It's
getting your A team around you, putting yourself in that very best position to win personally in business, wherever it will be.
So that's my experience. Plenty more to it, but
I'm sure, mate, we could dedicate a whole podcast to that and much more above and beyond. Now, coming out of there, obviously you've also got a martial arts background, so quite extensive in that, and that started at quite a young age, hey?
So I started Zendu Kai, which is I guess like a form of karate. With a mix of sort of Thai boxing and stuff in it. Originally started by Bob Jones.
Remember it well, popularised in sort of in the 80s, remember Brisbane here, and the Zendu Kai boys were definitely a lethal force, that's for sure.
Well, my original instructor, Ben Hamilton, he was Bob Jones, like one of his top students. And he took Ben over to Thailand back in the day. So when I was like 10, Ben was in Thailand, Thai boxing, and then coming back and they integrated some Thai boxing in with Zendu Kai, and it really became a popular art back in the 90s. Really big. It's still going today. I know that there's still a lot of schools around that do it.
And you were like young, like 10-ish when you got into that, or
I was 6 when I started it. My parents or my dad moved to Queensland when I was 12, so I did it for about nearly 7 years. I got a junior black belt, and that's sort of like the basis of my martial arts.
And by the sounds of it, many forms of martial art, which led you into the the famous acronym UFC, which many people would know, acknowledge, recognise. And I believe that your introduction to UFC came at the very last minute. So tell us a bit about how you arrived in your first UFC fight. It's interesting that like there's a lot of hard work that goes on, and there's a lot of for the people around you, they can't see your dream. There's a lot of doubt. You know what I mean? So even the closest people to you are like, oh, maybe you're never going to make it. Sure.
And it's not that they don't want you to. It's just that they can't see what you can see. They can't. It's not their dream. So we went through a long road. I traveled the world, I fought everywhere. I fought anyone. I never said no to anyone.
Yeah.
And then I found myself on a good win streak.
Yeah.
A few Australian titles. And then the opportunity came because there was an athlete fighting on a UFC Brisbane card who couldn't get his visa approved due to a criminal record, which was awesome for me, not for him, but awesome for me.
Yep. Opportunity arise.
Yeah. And I mean, I was managing myself, but the promoter at the time, who I had the belt for, he had a call from the UFC and they'd offered the fight to someone else. So Nick Patterson.
Yeah.
Nick was he had diabetes or something like that, and he just straight out said, like, there's no way in a week that I'm cutting 15 kilos.
Yeah.
He would have had all sorts of medical issues.
Sure.
So he's turned around and gone, no, I can't take it, which is really rare. Yeah. Most of the time people go, yeah, I can take it and miss weight. They wear the fine, they get the win, they get a contract.
Gotcha. Yeah, because we're talking the UFC, and if I understand correctly, this is your dream to be part of it?
All anyone fights for.
Yeah.
They want to be in the UFC, you know? Like, this day and age, there's a few other promotions that can pay you pretty good, but for the most part, the UFC is where you want to be. That's why you do it.
Yeah, the gold standard.
Yeah. So anyway, Nick says I can't do it. The promoter, he goes, I've got this other guy. He's won 5 straight, 3 belts, 4 finishes, and they went, can he make weight? He rang me. He goes, can you make weight next Saturday? I was like, what kind of question's that? And he said, yeah, that's what I thought. So I've already said yes for you. I said, all right, cool. And then that was it.
And what did you have to cut? How much weight?
12.8 kilos.
12.8 kilos in a week.
6 days, yeah. So, you know, there's a I wish I knew now what I knew now.
Yeah.
You know, I work with some of the best nutritionists now. I barely cut any weight these days. I mean, I do a cut during camps, but like my actual fight week is pretty insignificant.
You haven't got to go through a rapid weight loss, a drop.
Well, I do the water thing, but I get down to, you know, pretty good 8% or something like that off weight, which is pretty standard, industry standard. Yeah. Not 15%. Which is crazy, but
only have a Christmas, eh?
Yeah, that's it. And so I was at work. I was working a day shift at the jail. Yeah. Just finished lunch, a couple of meat pies, and I'd finally,
even though you know what goes into them, you still eat them, eh?
I'd actually given up hope. Well, I don't know what goes into those ones. I'd actually given up hope, you know, in the sense that I'd fought 4 weeks earlier. I was like, I'll stay lean. Hopefully I'll get a chance. You know, it's a couple of weeks away. I'm the best lightweight in the country at the moment. Yeah.
This is in the sport of mixed martial arts.
Yep. I'm the best lightweight in the country at the moment. Like, if they want a lightweight, I'm the man. Yep. And so I kind of gave up hope a couple of weeks out. I was like, nah, it's too close now. Like, there's no way they're going to pick me up real late. Yep. And so
that opportunity arose.
I had pizza and watched Friday night football, drank a couple of beers, went to work the next day. Had a normal lunch, did whatever everyone else would do, and then the phone call come. Yeah. And the rest is history, you know. We signed all the paperwork that day. Yeah. That night I signed the rest of it. The guy who, although he wasn't managing me, essentially took on a management role to help me out. Yeah. One of the best guys in the business, if you ask me. Yeah. Never took a cent off me. I did it for the love of the sport. Yeah. And to help people that, you know, to help people that deserved it, I guess. You know, he stuck his neck out. So
that's great. And that was 2016?
Yeah.
First fight. And how long did you spend in the UFC? How many fights and so forth?
So I was in the UFC for 3 years. Yeah. I lost a decision that night. Then I won 2 straight. I got a knockout on a pay-per-view card over in America. I was on the undercard to it, but we got a first round knockout over there. That was me first ever full training camp without a job. Yeah, so
that's cool.
I worked full time my whole career. Yeah. Fortunately for me, I had a boss that was happy to work in as long as it didn't impact the company. Yeah, and you know, I switched some shifts around, took some leave without pay and some annual leave, and I got 7 weeks without work, and all I did was train and sleep. Yeah, it was the dream. It's like not only did I reach UFC, but now I'm just in a full time fight camp. So that's an experience that very few athletes, especially in mixed martial arts, ever get. Yeah.
You must have been pinching yourself, eh?
It was honestly like I got 9 hours sleep every night. Yeah. I trained 6 hours a day. Yeah. I did cryotherapy, float tanks. Yeah. You know, like all the good stuff every day, you know.
This is in the States.
This was here.
Oh, this is in Australia. Gotcha.
And then, but I fought in the States. And then I flew to America only 3 kilos off weight.
Yeah.
Like, it was an absolute dream. I never had any stress in my life.
Yeah.
So that was easily the best part of my career.
Yeah.
Was experiencing all of that for the first time, flying to America.
Yeah.
3 days before that first round knockout, my wife rang me and told me we're having a baby.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's like everything happened in one at once.
In the flow.
And then I won again, and then I got knocked out in New Zealand. The UFC re-signed me, and I lost a couple of split decisions, and that was the end. But 3 years, 6 fights.
How cool.
Fight of the night in Sydney.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And back to that, what you mentioned about that whole journey, that process of preparing the dream run that you had. Once again, you obviously like the competitive nature of it. You love the fight, all that part. But by the sounds of it, it's all about the journey and going the whole experience that you had. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, for me, like, you know, wins and losses, I don't have like the most unblemished record or anything like that. Sure. But I've got some great experiences. Yeah. You know, I've fought in London, Ireland, Jordan, New Zealand, America, Japan, Macau, Malaysia. I mean, I've fought everywhere. I've seen so many things that
so cool
I otherwise wouldn't have seen, and they were all paid for trips.
Yeah. So good. And my understanding was also during your fight career, you also went through a time, correct me if I'm wrong, where you were maybe, you know, your mental game wasn't as strong as it could have been.
Good research.
Yes.
Good research, B-Rad. That was good. So, you know, I've 2 people to really thank for getting me out of that. So I'd lost 4 fights in a row. I was 10 wins, 8 losses. Everyone knows the UFC is not picking up a guy with a 50-50 record.
Yeah.
And I went to a sponsor of mine, Again Faster.
Yep.
Good guys, check them out.
Great guys.
And the owner of Again Faster said to me, he noticed that, you know, maybe my demeanor wasn't where it, or my confidence wasn't where it should be. And he said, before you're done, do me a favor and talk to this guy. And I was like, yeah, cool. Who is it? And it was a guy that was working with some CrossFit athletes, overcoming some anxiety and pre-competition nerves and whatnot.
Yeah.
And really, he wasn't a sports psychologist. He's an ex-police officer, Sean O'Gorman.
Yep. Soggy
runs a Strong Life project. Literally one of the best humans you'll ever meet.
Yep.
And the best thing for me was he's experienced his own problems.
Yeah.
And he's then giving people the tools to get through theirs based off his experiences. And so for that, we really connected. You know, he's an ex dog squad police officer.
Yeah, amazing story he's got as well.
Ex infantry.
Yeah,
and we really just connected very well. And I was coming off 4 losses, and then my next fight, we worked together every week for about 4 months.
Yeah,
and afterwards, he said to me, "How did you feel? How did you feel the day before, and how did you feel before it?"
Yeah.
I said, "Man, I'd never ever dreamed of competing feeling like I'd never lost before."
Yeah.
It was odd, and I still can't tell anyone what he did.
Yeah.
Except for changing my way of thinking.
Yeah.
And one of the best phrases that I took out of it to always use as a reminder was, what anyone else is thinking about you is none of your business. And I know heaps of people have said that across the world, but he said it to me at the right time in my life for me to let go of my anxiety over what people thought of me, what people were thinking of me wanting a photo with them, what people were thinking of what I post on social media, what people were thinking of my 4 losses, what people were thinking of if he loses a 5th time. It allowed me to let go of all that. And I had one hell of a performance. We put on a fight of the night. I broke my hand in the first round.
Yeah,
I was fighting Shane Young, who's now in the UFC as well. And I picked up a decision win. And that started a 5-fight win streak.
Wow,
and then I
cool.
signed with the UFC. So I was literally going to walk away.
Yeah.
I also told my wife at that point in time, if I lost again, I was done, because to get to the UFC being the only goal. Yeah. If it got too far out of the way that it was going to be a few years or 10 wins in a row to balance the record up again, then to me that was a waste of time.
So good. Love it, man. And sorry, excuse my ignorance because I didn't do my research on this part. You're saying this all happened prior to UFC and the UFC come on the back end of coming out of that?
Yeah. I said to my wife, I've lost 4 in a row. If I lose again, my record's done.
Yep.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And she said, as long as it's your decision.
Sure.
And I was like, yep, I'm happy with that. I was content at that point in time.
Yeah.
And then Gino from Again Faster said, go and talk
Just
to this guy.
Have a chat.
Have a chat.
Yep.
If nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it.
Yep.
And we went on a 5-fight win streak with 4 finishes.
Yep.
And signed with the UFC 14 months after starting our working together relationship.
So good. Shout out to Soggy. Shout out to Gene from Again Faster. Check out their brand. That's amazing. Mate, love the story. So good. What I love about it, there's a couple of bits that I take away. If I relate this stuff back to business immediately, you're a successful business owner, that comment that you made, like one thing we say to people, when they're setting their personal training rates, when they're setting their membership fees, when they're having a price increase, any of that sort of stuff, our mantra is that, you as the business owner, the person who's going to set the rates, the fees, you've got no right to decide what someone will or won't pay for your service. Right, it's not up to you to decide, it's up for them to decide. And you've got no right to think for other people. So what happens is people go to set a rate and go, I'm not going to charge $80 because this person might not be able to afford it or whatever. Or if I want to put my rates up from $80 to $90, what are they going to say? Well, they think I'm greedy or money hungry or any of that sort of stuff. And, the lesson from us as a business is going, look, it's not up to you to make that decision. It's up to them. And so what I heard from that, same thing from a psychological point of view, it's not up to you. It's like, cut that stuff out, So the other part is getting the right team around you, because to build your business to the level you've built it, what we find is a really great quality of yours that we've witnessed. You've worked personally with my business partner, with Jason, and he's spoken about this along your whole journey with us at Trainer HQ. From day one, you've invested in help, in coaching and mentoring and getting the right people around you. So can you tell us a bit about that part and why it's important to you?
For a number of reasons. I mean, hindsight's a beautiful thing. I've got family, particularly my dad, that went through a lot of, he had his own business. He always wanted his own business. He went broke, not from his own fault.
Sure.
But he was more taken advantage of than anything.
Yep.
I don't want to share too much of his story, but I was old enough to understand that. I was old enough to understand his experience, how it happened, how it could have been avoided. For him to talk to me, I was 16. For him to talk to me about what he could or couldn't have done, what he should or shouldn't have done. So there's hindsight and experience, and then there's just the fact that, I just believe that without people around you that know how to do the things you don't know how to do, you'll never be able to do them properly. I mean, we see it all the time with businesses that they create their own logo.
Yeah.
It's $300.
Yeah.
And the difference.
You're not a graphic designer, people. It's like,
what I mean? The difference in what you get for $300 compared to what you can deliver in an hour is insane.
Yeah.
That $300 is someone sitting there for 3 hours making sure the line's right on your poster.
Yeah.
So it's for me, it just doesn't make sense to try and do the things that I don't know how to do.
Yeah.
It takes so long to learn something that it just doesn't seem like it's a sensible, profitable option.
Yep.
So I just decided that I was going to surround myself with people that could do the things that I, A, didn't know how to do, or B, don't want to do.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to do some things. I want to coach people. I want to run a business, but that doesn't mean that I want to design posters or I want to take photos or.
That's right.
Sometimes I don't even want to post on social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like if you can find people who have a passion for doing the things that you don't have the passion to do.
Yep. Well, way better than you, most likely.
Way better. Then that means your entire business model has people who are passionate about those areas.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's just getting coaching to hone in on the skills that you love and want to do. I'm interested in business.
Yeah.
But having people that can coach me through business.
Yeah.
Because I'm passionate about it. So they give me the tools to get through that.
Yeah. And that, ladies and gentlemen, if that's what we refer to as the entrepreneurial mindset. That's it, And so we've got a saying in the office. Everyone's probably heard of Richard Branson, owner of the Virgin Empire. It's like, when there's a mundane task or something, and it's okay to do these things, but long term go, okay, I'm not sure if Richard Branson's sitting around doing this, or I'm not sure if he's the guy to be doing this stuff, So it's like, how do we get the right people around us? And I love it. You shared a story with me about a bill that you just paid also because business changes and it grows and what would have been overwhelming back in the day suddenly becomes the norm. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, business is scary, man. It's so well I shared the whole thing. So I have a friend of mine who is a lawyer. I can't remember how the conversation came around, but I believe it would have been something to do with leasing or something like that. And I said to him, "Oh man, but it's $50,000."
Yeah.
And he said, "That's the new $5,000. Get used to it." And I was like, "What?" And then, basically he explained to me that the further we go through life and the bigger our business gets, the more the old $500 becomes 5,000 and 5,000 becomes 50,000.
Yeah.
And 50,000 scares you as much now as 5,000 did when you were 22.
Yep.
So it's like you have to get used to growing and you have to get used to what comes with growing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the example on a bill was I just paid a $38,000 rent bill and I messaged my wife and said, I just paid a $38,000 bill. Do you remember when we were getting personal loans that big? And, it's funny to look back and go, I used to borrow that much money because I couldn't afford my bills. And now I'm paying a $38,000 bill. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy how life comes around. But again, it really does come back to that, the bigger your business gets, the bigger your bills get.
Yep.
And that's a sign of, in my opinion, that's a sign of success and growth.
Yeah, and growth, and it comes back to tax, all the rest of it. So those of you who are paying tax bills, hey, happy days. It means you're making profit. And we had a mantra in the office here. This was a couple of years ago when we were looking at the amount of money that we were paying out in tax to the government and so forth, and it was a significant amount. And it was like, this money that we're handing across, and there was a form of, I guess, resentment towards it because it's you're taking it in and then you're just handing it away. But then when we changed the mantra and then we're going, well, what do we get to do? Well, we get to live in this beautiful country. We get to have roads and schools and hospitals and this amazing way of life, and we're contributing to that, and we're the people who are at the forefront of that. So once we changed that and the wording, the language you put up on the whiteboard, it was a whole mindset shift. So that for us was really poignant. Back to business now. Another part for you is that, like, we talk about the McDonald's formula in business, and most people know McDonald's to have the best systems, or be renowned to having the best systems in the world. That's why they've got pimply-faced teenagers running a multi-billion-dollar organisation. Shout out to all the Macca's workers out there. I've been one myself back in the day. But the other McDonald's formula is that McDonald's, they have a great business model, but not only that, what do they own? They own a bucket load of property. And so what have McDonald's been famous for? Not only building these successful models, but more importantly, buying the property where they locate the restaurant. And so what that means is that they get to also experience the capital growth in the property, get to own the property and all the rest of it. And you, my friend, congratulations, by the way, have just done the McDonald's formula of purchasing the business. So tell us about that experience.
Yeah, look, again, that was business advice from someone else. We're like right on the verge of it. We're going through the process. It's very tedious and long.
Yeah.
But it's a done thing. It's just a time thing.
Yes.
Council.
Oh,
They're not. Yeah, council.
Not the most fun to deal with.
Yeah, so anyway, but we are going through that process, and in a matter of weeks that'll be done. But what for me is important is that I don't rent someone else's business for the rest of my life. Like I don't rent their shed. I don't want to retire someone else.
Well, who are you paying rent to now?
Yeah, yeah. So So now, for me, the advice I was given was if you can't buy the building inside the first term of your lease, then you've done something wrong. And I was like, fuck, that's a lot of money to try and make.
But was there also one part of the brain that went challenge accepted? Or
yeah, well, I'm a competitor. So yeah, anyway, that was my goal. I signed a 3-year lease and I wanted to buy a building, whether it was that one or another one within the first term.
Yeah.
We moved inside 2 years.
Yep.
And we moved with an option to purchase and we exercised that option to purchase immediately.
Wow.
So essentially I was in a position to purchase a premises within 2 years.
2 years, fantastic. Double the size of where you started, like 700
We went from 315 to 705 or 704.
Yeah.
And so, we've got office space and consult rooms and stuff now as well. So, so we basically were in a position to buy a building that was good enough for the rest of our business life.
Yeah, great.
Not just one that we had to buy, sell, and buy something else.
Yeah.
So, that was the goal from the start. Again, props to my dad, taught me this lesson because he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Spoke about buying a building that his business was in for probably 15 years and never did it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's regretting it now. But we as kids should always learn from our parents' mistakes.
Yep.
And so I just was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I've seen him have it. He's still got the business now. It's been going for 20 years. And he would have owned the shed twice over. So, I just don't want to be in 20 years' time, look back and go, I should have done it. And so that was right from the get-go was one of my goals.
Yeah.
So now I'm paying my mortgage off.
Love it, man. So good. It's a great story. And once again, it's all these things. And then this is for us, we have a really tough choice every year when we're awarding an Entrepreneur of the Year. So many different criteria come into it. There's obviously revenue, profit. There's all the figures and the stats and the data and so forth. But then we get down to the other parts and going, who has, in our opinion, put themselves in that position and put in the entrepreneurial stages in business, getting the right people around and building the right team, building the right support network, putting the right systems and structure. And so it's all those things. And for all of us in business, like there's always going to be the next bit that you're doing, the next bit you're working on, the next bit of improvement. But we go, from that perspective, these are all the things that contributed to that. So it's super cool. The other thing that we looked at in your business is that you're very big on giving, helping, and looking after people, and one of those being veterans that you look after. So tell us a bit about that part as well.
So we decided, Queensland Corrections is not really a frontline kind of job, I suppose. To most people, it's not police, ambulance, military, or fire and rescue.
Yeah.
But because I was working for them and it was close to my heart, we decided both veterans, QPS, QAS, QCS, and QFES would all get a 20% discount. So basically the 5 main jobs for me that would experience day-to-day trauma.
People at the front line.
Yeah, people that would experience trauma at all times, have a certain control and restraint component to their employment, or some kind of security risk. Now, before any nurses get upset, I realise that they're faced with that as well.
Yeah.
Because I've upset one before. But we decided that we would give 20% off for all those people off our membership.
Yeah.
Which is, a pretty decent price. For veterans, they spend a lot of time away from home. So one of the biggest blocks for them to join a gym is they probably pay more to not be there than they do to be there. So we put their memberships on hold for free. For anything that if they're away for anything that exceeds a couple of weeks.
Sure.
So, we might have 20% of our member base that's on hold at any period of time. Well, that's difficult for business. That's a small price to pay for what those guys have to go through.
Yeah.
So, we decided to do that. And we have a plan and have started to implement that plan to provide like a holistic sort of approach to veteran health, and everyone in general, but obviously being a veteran, it's quite close to my heart. So we have a physio that can service Veterans Affairs clients, so ex-servicemen or current servicemen, and we work with some other medical professionals who, based on referral systems, we can get jiu-jitsu and stuff like that covered.
Yeah.
To try and provide an outlet for those guys. So one of the biggest things I've ever experienced as far as PTSD and trauma goes is you need to put yourself in a position where you can take yourself away from whatever's going on in your head. And the only way to do that is, in my opinion, is to create some kind of direct threat that's not really a threat. Or put yourself in, say, exercise that's at such an intense level that it forces you to think about the moment.
Yeah.
So whatever that may be, some guys like fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, but for me, when I'm fishing, I get bored and I start thinking about things.
Yep.
So
When
there was a police trauma course where, and my coach told me this, where they said that if you exercise 3 times a week at a intensity level that forces you to think about the moment, then that was good to deal with trauma.
Yeah.
And I believe the same thing comes from jiu-jitsu. You got a direct threat that's in your teammates, so they're not there to hurt you.
Yeah.
But it is a threat, and you need to focus on it, and that's the best escape that you can get.
Yeah.
So so we try to lower our membership rate and provide an environment that's supportive and productive to help those people get into a sport that builds a community and a support network for a better mental health.
Yeah, love it, man. It's all, just forms part of your mission. It's all part of what you guys do, and that just rings through. So anyone has the pleasure of getting to meet D Brown here, I guess that rings through in terms of his personality, his ethos, and so forth. So yeah, it's super cool. Mate, there's a lot of people out there who probably want to do what you're doing, right? Who aspire to have, on some level what you've achieved in business. What's something or 1 or 2 things that you might recommend someone who's aspiring to, build their business or go down that path, or some advice or some things that you've picked up along the way that you might have advised others on?
I would say take your time. So it's nice to have what you want in 10 years now, but it's not going to happen. So I think take your time. I mean, I can't count the amount of night shifts that I spent drawing floor plans on how my gym was going to look before I had a building.
Yes.
I'm just fortunate enough that I got a rectangular building because that's how I drew all my pictures. So take your time, plan properly.
Yeah.
Outsource. So surround yourself with people that can do the things that you A, don't want to do, or B, can't do. And have fun. Have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, business is the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. and that like that includes like going overseas and business is a highly strung, stressful environment for me. But there's not a day goes by that I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
And my members, they all know that as well.
Yeah.
They're part of my fun. So like I run a business and that's all stressful. When I see them, it's as good for them as it is for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's your outlet. That's where you get to enjoy yourself and fulfill your mission.
Yeah. Plan and surround yourself with people that can help you do the things that you aren't necessarily the best at. So as you can focus on the things that you are good at.
Yeah. Love it, man. Love it. So good, mate. We could talk all day. I could, every single one of these, like I said, could be a separate episode. But, mate, you're a very busy man, and I want to thank you very much for, donating your time, because I know how valuable this is on many levels to everybody. So if someone wants to, get online, check out your location, where are you? Where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
If you just want to have a chat, which I'm always open to, being a veteran, my inboxes are always open. But at Beatdown155, so that's the handle on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok.
Hey, nice.
And or you can just check out my gym on Facebook and Instagram, which is at Base Training Center.
At Base Training Center. Yep. Cool, man. So good, man. And beautiful location. We're going to be out there soon actually doing some filming. I believe the plan is that, me and Brad Davis are going to try and take on Jace in some sort of tournament. But anyway, we'll get to that bit later.
I don't have much space.
But mate, I want to thank you very much, and congratulations on your success, and here's to the future. So thanks again, sir.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Damien Beatdown Brown. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That was awesome.